Good evening, everybody. We are back in the studio, and I'm excited. I've got Tim Waz in from Grounded Running. Tim, I've known you, it's been
Almost 10 years.
almost 10 years. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So, first of all, before we get started, this is Lowcountry's Conversation After Hours, and you've brought something that I've never had, or maybe I've had a sip every now and again in my
Sure.
adult years. So, bourbon.
Yeah, I
You
got
brought-
really excited when you told me that you're not a bourbon drinker, and I was like, I'm bringing bourbon. And after watching Mark on here
Yeah.
a few episodes
Yeah.
back, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sponsor this episode, and I'm going to
Love
bring
it.
some of my favorites.
Yeah, I love
so
it.
yeah, so the very cool thing about bourbon, at least for me, is there's such a story behind it.
Okay.
You know, it's like there's such a flavor profile, and all those flavor profiles literally come from the wood casks that it's kept in, and there's very strict rules as far as the grains that you're using. I think you looked up earlier whiskey versus bourbon.
Yes.
I was like, oh, there's two very different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's very specific classifications. What actually makes a spirit of bourbon, all the way to what are the actual oaks casks made out of that they keep it in the rick houses for at least a minimum of 2 years. The proofs, everything. So. And then the nice thing about it is as you dive into bourbons, you just start figuring out what you like. And it's really just like really deep profiles. And I'm not by any means a snob. Actually, one of my favorite drinking bourbons, shout out to Rotten Little Bastard, our local distillery
Yes.
here. They make one of my favorite drinking bourbons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, real quick, when
yeah.
you say drinking bourbon, what other bourbon is there? A sipping bourbon?
Well, so if you think about it, you can make bourbon cocktails. So
okay.
then if you're making an old fashioned,
Yep.
simple syrups and fruit without turning it into a fruit cocktail and bitters, and you're just adding other things in it. But if you're just going to sit down and you're just sipping bourbon. We actually, when we have friends over at the house, we'll break out 5 bottles. We'll do a blind taste test, and our local Coosa Cut definitely ranks high every single time.
Wow.
So I'll pour us a little bit.
Please.
Yep.
So this is very interesting. And I don't know why it's never been, you know what I mean? And I'm a light beer drinker at best, you know what I mean? So, and you're pouring these in, are they decanters or is that a?
So, all right. So the glassware gets really fancy as well too.
Okay.
So basically, the shape and structure of this glass is actually to open up the actual flavor profile. So it's a little bit wider on the bottom. If you spin it around, kind of let the oxygen actually breathe, come back into it.
Okay.
The snobs will take a big, deep nose. So literally bury your nose in there.
Burns.
Yeah. It's got a nice, sharp burn on that top side.
Am I looking for anything?
You're just kind of, building your own, it's kind of, did you ever read any of the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
I love those.
Yeah. So start on one side, one nostril. It kind of creates such a different experience. So I get a lot of deep caramel. I get a lot of cinnamon.
Cinnamon for sure.
Allspice. So once you get at that good, that good nose, you always want to take a look at the color.
Okay.
Yeah, you're looking at the color just from a comparison standpoint. Do you like a lighter bourbon? Do you like a darker bourbon? A lot of the flavor profiles, or actually all the color, there's no artificial coloring actually added to this. This actually comes from the charred barrels that they're kept in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, everyone's a little bit different. So the very first thing you want to do, just take a little pull. Keep it in your mouth 10, 15 seconds. Really just kind of get through that initial burn.
Is it a swish? You're just
holding it? Just holding it in there. And then, sounds weird, but breathe in through your nose if you need to breathe, and then out through your mouth. Because if you breathe in through your mouth, it's going to add even more burn to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just get a good little taste.
That's interesting. So what am I feeling?
So yeah, I get a lot of earth. I get a lot of charcoal. I get a lot of cane, cane sugar. A lot of praline on the end.
Do you have, is your palate very sensitive like that? So when you eat food, you can tell what's in that? Or is it strictly, or have you,
I enjoy all foods.
okay.
I don't look like it,
Yeah,
but yeah, I enjoy all foods. So now take your second pull.
Okay.
And just make it a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller, and this is kind of your real tasting pull, because it is a very shock to the to the tongue, to the taste buds
is,
when
yeah,
you're putting
100%.
on such a higher proof. I think I should have brought my readers. What is that one at? Sorry guys, over at Rotten Little Bastards. 121. So this is their uncut.
Okay.
That's the Kusa cut. That was one of their first original 100 bottles that that they put out. So it is a much stronger. Yeah, so a little bit.
Thanks for starting me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
got
a bigger pull. A pull is a drink.
yeah, just
is it?
yeah, you're sipping it. You're not like you're not shooting it. You're
Yeah.
just enjoying it. Should be a little bit smoother this time. Not such a violent attack
It
on the
is.
taste buds.
It is.
The thing that I like about this one is it's very silky. It's almost creamy. Creamy is one of my new descriptors that I like on
Okay.
on some of them. It's just a little bit softer flavor profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious what the others taste like.
Yeah.
That's probably the most bourbon I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah. Any thoughts on it? Any?
It's good. I think, I mean, so I guess I don't do anything for the pleasure of what it is. And I say that in the term. So when I eat, it's really just more fuel because I need to live, right? Unless we've been going to Black Sheep for a couple years. And when I eat at Matt's, it's for the flavor and for the taste. When I drink, I do it because I'm thirsty. There's a thirst there. I don't necessarily drink something for that flavor. So this is new for me because obviously that's what it's all about.
So after you finish that.
Okay. So I have I'm really curious to how I'll feel after a couple of these.
Okay.
Because low tolerance
Yeah.
from an alcohol
Yeah.
standpoint.
And that's the other thing is like, with with a lot of the different bottles, one of Lainey and I's favorite is just the regular Blanton, which is I just poured you.
Yeah.
And there's an ice cube in there. So even just adding a few drops of water to bourbon
Yeah.
can really change the flavor profile. The larger ice cubes, are so it can bring it down in temperature quicker, larger surface area, actually hitting the bourbon without actually diluting the actual taste.
Oh, got it.
So it just kind of opens it up. Outside of, like I was saying, between the Kusa cut and just the regular Blantons, as my wife says, it's just bourbon flavored bourbon.
Okay.
Just doing things really well. The Blantons is kind of a collector's type of bottle for bourbon lovers.
Okay.
You can kind of see on the actual bottle itself. This one was actually a gift, so it was dumped on March 24th, which
Okay.
was my birthday. So this was
understood. Got it.
this was a gifted birthday bottle.
Okay.
The little horses on top are actually different on each bottle. You can collect all of them, and
Got it.
it spells out Blanton's.
Oh. Imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jerry Garcia.
that is Jerry Garcia
Excellent.
joining us for a little cocktail this evening. So cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, going back to when we first met, I think Grounded Running and SNK started about the same time.
Yeah, we are. July 4th is so we're going on 10 years July 4th.
Okay.
We're going to celebrate June 27th. Everybody's going to be invited. We're going to have some music, food truck kind of a thing or something.
Nice.
Yeah, we're in conjunction with the Chamber's business apps hours. So we're kind of
Okay.
maybe do a new ribbon cutting kind of a deal.
Yeah.
We haven't locked it all in yet. And when did y'all start?
We're November.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're November.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 years, dude.
I know, just
I mean,
like
cheers
that,
just for
right?
that.
Just
Yeah,
like that,
that's,
all through COVID.
Yes, exactly right. Because I mean, that was tough.
It was an adventure.
It was scary.
Yeah.
Because I had, so what I did, so twofold. So as a business owner, luckily it's not what I know, it's who I know. And Todd Stowe was with the Beaufort County School District, still is, but with one school now, because we got all the COVID signage. We did all the COVID signage for the north of the broad schools. We did a lot of senior yard signs. So that kind of helped us through at least that year, getting through the next
Yeah.
kind of a deal. So it was, I shout out to Todd, and we still do stuff for him occasionally. Yeah.
Nice.
So just a sip on this?
Yeah.
Is that a sip?
Yeah. This is just an enjoyer. This has a little bit, in my opinion, has a little bit less of a bite to it.
It does.
You know, as Laney says, it's just a good. This I feel like the Blanton's is much fruitier.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
you're not getting the fruit,
No,
still
no,
getting
it's
the
tough.
bite.
It's tough. Yeah. Yeah, the bite's still there.
Yeah, but a little bit different with the ice too.
It is.
You know,
It's-
it kind of
it's- it does.
brings the heat down
Yeah,
a little bit.
it does.
I also feel like Blanton's has a little bit more bite on the back. So basically, after you've swallowed it, I feel like I get a little bit more of
There
the
it is, yeah.
you know the flavor.
get that.
Yeah, that sharpness on the backside.
Just so unique for me.
Yeah.
It's so crazy at this age, not having an acquired taste for really any. I don't do mixed drinks.
Okay.
I don't do any. Don't do any shots anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting.
Hmm.
And you drink wine and champagne as well?
I'm not a big champagne drinker.
Okay,
You know,
but
we'll
wine.
enjoy wine with
Yeah,
dinner.
with dinner.
But actually, I feel like, you know, I go through different phases on times of the year.
Okay.
You know, when it's getting summertime, you know, I want something with a little bit more, you know, coconut in
Okay.
it, you know, a little bit, as I say, it tastes like vacation.
There we go. That's a great name.
Yes,
So,
I
yeah.
know. It tastes like vacation. But yeah, we really enjoy wine. You know, really enjoyed, like, just like you were talking about Matt over at Black Sheep.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough to pick up a last minute reservation this week. And
Oh, nice.
we always love it when we're the last table in there. If we get like the 8 o'clock seating and you can just sit around with Matt and Krista and just.
I was just we ate dinner there last night.
Okay.
No, Saturday night. Sorry. So again, same thing. Last minute reservations. You know, if you follow Black Sheep, obviously they're changing their
Yes.
whole scope. But excuse me, we got in, and what do you think about this menu?
I loved it.
No, it's
I loved
phenomenal.
every menu.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a bad plate this man has put in front of my face.
Yeah.
But again, I don't eat zucchini or squash, but I sure as hell ate that first course.
Yeah.
And then the crab, I don't eat crab, but I sure as hell ate that.
Yep.
That I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The chicken was delicious.
The chicken
beef-
was outstanding.
It
Like
was.
we talked about the fried chicken
Yes.
for probably 48 hours after we
Oh
left.
yeah,
and,
yeah.
yeah.
So do you guys do it like we ordered one of everything?
We do.
And
And,
then
then
we
we usually
cut
do
it-
the full wine pairings
Oh
and
yeah,
everything.
okay.
So,
Because I don't do the wine.
Okay.
Kelly, my wife, will do the wine, but I'll just have some High Lifes.
yeah.
You know, a couple bottles of that. and-
See, that's the one thing I still cannot
Really?
partake in. Yeah, so I had a bad experience with Miller High Life back in the day. The little pony bottles on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Coe
Yeah, yeah.
River, and
Yeah, it was just. And it's funny how food or drink will do that to you. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience. Maybe I think back in the day, there was some green bean episode or something like that. I don't know. That was a long time ago, but
nice.
oh, that's good. So grounded running
Yeah.
10 years ago. Have you always been a shoe store? I heard at some point it started out as something else.
It did. So I had a previous life before I was Tim, the grounded running guy, as you know, most people.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
funny how
do.
Yeah.
But it was also cool because like my previous life, nobody knew like that I was involved in running. Was
Okay.
doing ultra marathons like on the weekends. I was actually chief operating officer of a hotel development and management company.
Wow.
We had hotels all around the country. I was traveling nonstop. We had over 100 projects when the last financial crisis of 2007 into 8 was happening. We were one of the few hotel development companies that actually survived And it was just because we had so many projects on the books, and
Got it.
came through that, still with our heads held high. And we basically had three different legs. We had a development company, a management company, and then also a purchasing company. So basically, just like any small business owner, you just got to get at least three good arms, holding you up at any given time. And then you've got to have one fun one like this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
to keep things fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And then had a Jerry Maguire moment on a way home from a trip where I just wrote a this is everything wrong with our company, and walked away. And
Wow.
But Grounded Running originally started as a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, we originally started a podcast way before podcasts were cool.
Yeah,
A lot
exactly.
of people.
Yeah, it's so saturated right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like everybody has a podcast.
Every celebrity has a podcast.
Every celebrity has a podcast. And it's funny because there's a few that I really enjoy. And I love like a lot of the science podcasts.
Okay.
And so like I'll see that somebody has one, and then it takes me down like a whole nother rabbit hole of then like their guests, and like every guest I believe that like goes on a podcast now goes home, they're like, I need my own podcast.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, so we did. We had our podcast for about 5 years.
Wow.
And it was primarily focused on ultra running.
Okay.
An ultra marathon is anything longer than a marathon. So a marathon is 26.2 miles.
Right.
An ultra is anything longer than that. And back in the day, there were very few people in that realm, and now I could probably rattle off 25 ultra marathon podcasts.
Really?
There's a lot of really good ones. It's just like you said, there's so many out there. But yeah, then I wanted to. Running's always been a passion of mine. I started running in the 3rd grade. I remember the very first time I actually ran a race was one of my first days of school when we moved from Buffalo, New York, down to Spring Hill, Florida.
Okay. Wow, culture shock.
Yeah, and my mom had bought us a pair of white canvas boat shoes.
Oh.
'Cause that's like what all the cool kids are wearing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And,
You had the tassel on the front? The little tassels there? Or were they
I
the
believe there was like the brown canvas leather, tie, but I think there's like a very specific knot on the end, so you didn't actually have to tie
I know
it.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like when they had like the little where they connected here.
Yes, it had like the little back loop on there.
Yes.
And one of the very first days of school, thanks to Ronald Reagan, I found myself running a mile around the softball field for the Presidential Fitness Challenge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I still remember I was running behind James Gallagher. He was a buddy that went all the way through high school with me, later became surfing buddies. Actually, he was kind of like the bad guy in the Point Break, and I was the good guy. So,
yeah. So you were Keanu?
Yeah, so I was Keanu.
Yeah. Definitely got great hair.
Thanks. Presidential Fitness Challenge. I'm running a mile in my canvas shoes, and around the last lap, I think we had to do like 12 laps around the softball field for a mile after we did all the other things. And I was like, man, we used to do a lot more like book work in New York. This is neat. We're just like having field day every single day. Yeah. And so I was like, well, this is the last lap. I can beat this guy. And, I finished in front of him. And then as soon as I got done, I remember our PE teacher was like, you need to go see the nurse. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't need to know. It's like, you really need to go see the nurse. And went to go see the nurse. Well, my heels bled so bad that it like flowed over the white canvas boat shoes and just like worked up a little blister right on the heel. Because of course you don't wear socks with them.
No, of course,
So it was, so
that's interesting.
Yeah, so started running because of Ronald Reagan in 3rd grade.
I'm sure. What year did you graduate?
94.
94. Okay.
Yeah,
how old are you?
48.
Okay.
Yeah, just turned 48 in March.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'll be 52 this October.
Okay.
Graduated 91.
Okay.
A year. I probably should have graduated 90. Not that I was held back. I think my birthday's on a cutoff date in October. So I think it's like right there before school, whatever.
Okay.
Where'd you graduate from?
Spring Hill, Florida.
In Spring Hill, Florida. So you stayed there from your whole entire...
We moved down there in when I was in the 2nd grade, and then, stayed there through high school.
Wow.
Then South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, back to Alabama, South Carolina, and then been here in Beaufort since 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I was so my stepdad was military.
Okay.
My mother got with him in 1980. No, my sister was born in 1980. We lived in Massachusetts at the time. I think 84 she got with him. 85 I moved to Germany.
Okay.
Spent 5 years there. My sophomore year, I was in 4 different high schools, which was and I still passed.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, and then ended up in Columbus, Georgia. Graduated in '91. Moved to Texas in '91 to be with Sonic Drive-In. Moved here in '97.
Okay.
So, and that's how.
Nice.
And then in 2014, I was like, F this.
Yeah.
You know, aligned myself with the wrong franchisee. You know, the classic story where it's like in any relationship, when somebody's working harder than the other person, you almost get taken advantage of
Sure.
because that person is, they're going to, that was me as a supervisor. So I worked my way. I was a regular cook in the beginning and we had 14 locations. So I had 14 stores under my belt and all around here. And I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just, the rat race and dealing with the employees and staffing and managers and all this other stuff. It was tough.
Yeah.
Not that I work any less now
Right.
as a small business owner, but it's still myself. And then with the last 4 years, I've had Anthony on
Yeah,
staff.
that's great.
So yeah, we've had a good time. So let's talk about, you had the Jerry Maguire moment. You're like, I'm already talking about running. I've got a podcast. I know about running.
Yeah.
So running shoes and apparel was the next step.
Yeah. So it was, kind of the next logical step. Ever since I was in the 3rd grade, running, I'd always identified as a runner. I've always enjoyed it. And it was one of the reasons I stepped away from, doing what I was doing. It was just the inefficiencies.
Yeah.
And I really, truly felt that we took deep advantage of the heart of the hotels that kept us going, the staff, the labor. And so it was like I really just wanted a passion project, and it was like, I'm already doing these things on the weekend. I was putting on a handful of races per year. What's the next logical step? And Beaufort just did not have a dedicated running store. And
Keyword being dedicated.
yeah. And Tim over at Higher Ground, who's a great friend.
Love it.
Yeah, they've got they carry a selection of footwear and a couple running shoes.
Yeah.
But primarily, because Beaufort's got such a great small community tied together between physical therapists, podiatrists. He would carry things that they were recommending.
Got it.
Didn't necessarily want to, be a mass purveyor of these things, but if people needed them, nobody else had them. Let's make these things readily available. And so then we opened up in November. November 6th was our first day opening. We originally actually opened here in Port Royal.
Yeah, over there by the old where the Bilo was at.
Yeah, where the Bilo's at, and immediately grew out of that space. We started with, I still have a picture of it on one of our shoe benches in the store. We started out with 12 shoes, and half of them were men's and half of them were women's. Wow. And then just slowly grew, and I was knocking down walls in the first 3 months and shifting shoe walls from one side to the other. And then literally had to, find a new location, and primarily just for backstock.
Yeah, for sure.
If you think about, the average size of a shoe box, and then for every size and every color.
Exactly. No, it's huge from a real estate standpoint, from a square footage standpoint.
Big time.
People don't think about that.
Yeah. So it takes up a good bit of space, but then 303 was doing their old Kmart renovation project, which seemed like a great use of another empty big box store here in
Yeah.
Beaufort. And so it's like, you know what? It's a great location. It's relatively close to the Spanish Moss Trail with the the Boundary Street expansion project, you know, massive sidewalk right there. Pick up the Spanish Moss Trail, good to go. So yeah, we've been over there now for 5 years. This September will be 5 years already.
Man, it goes way too quick. It's
I
like
know.
having kids, and the
Yeah.
next thing you know, they're adults.
Yeah, it's like, how's that possible?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love it.
How do you like? So, what part of your business? I don't know if I'm thinking more financially from your timing standpoint. How many races do you time a year?
So I was just looking at these numbers. So last year in 2023, we had 42 weeks out of the year. So 42 out of 52 weeks that we had an event.
With an event.
Yeah. And some weeks, like during the fall, we'll time a cross-country meet on Tuesday, a cross-country meet on Thursday, and then a local 5K on Saturday.
Got
So,
it.
you know, we're tripling up.
Yeah.
And then with the cross-country meets, you know, we could be doing 6 races in an evening.
Wow.
But overall, I was just talking with my timing company last week. We're close to 500,000 runners
Really?
that we've timed.
That you've timed over.
Yeah, just in the
Wow.
you know, the local races alone.
Is there a comparison? So can you is that on par with, say, someone with a larger community?
It's not.
No.
You know, like when you think about some of the big city races, you know, you look at you know, some of your major
That's true.
marathons that
Yeah,
have
yeah, for sure.
50,000 runners,
Yeah.
you know, in one race.
Jeez
You know,
Louise.
comparative to 1,800 as our largest race here in Beaufort. It takes a lot of those races.
Yeah, I
you know,
get
to-
okay.
to
That
add
makes
those
a
up.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think they would do the analytics compared to like your per capita size.
Yeah.
Based on that,
Yeah.
but
Now, I think I definitely have a lot of those guys beat by number of reads. So, you know, they may be timing more people.
Yeah.
But with a lot of our ultra marathons that
Yeah.
we do, 2020. I always just base everything on COVID now.
Yeah.
The very first week of February of 2020, we held our South Carolina Ultra Running Festival. It was a 6-day, 72-hour, 48-hour, 24-hour, and 100-mile race
geez, that's ridiculous.
over at Burton Wells Park
I remember. Yeah.
on a half-mile loop.
Yeah.
So literally, we had runners that were running a half-mile loop for 6 days.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, the winner ran 560 plus miles in 6 days on a half-mile loop. So you know,
You know how monotonous that is.
yes,
And then you with your yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. To make that even worse, I had some major dental work like 6 hours before that race started. So I was like excruciating pain
you had to
the
be
entire
there.
time.
Yeah.
And it was just,
Wow.
yeah, it was one of those things. It's like I was calling on everybody. I was calling on friends. It's just like, I need to take something from
Yeah.
my mouth and just pass out for a couple hours. It's like,
Wow.
yeah,
That
so,
yeah. I mean that's crazy.
yeah.
I mean, you're the dominant one north of the Broad for sure, right? Nobody else in our area is timing, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple smaller outfits that,
Like if
you
you're
know,
if you're booked,
yeah, like good friends of ours that she's been timing races in this area long before you know, I was even doing before I even started running again. Karen with Play Hard and Beat Town Sports.
Okay.
She's been timing events in Bluffton for 25 plus years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Alfred with Hilton Head Running Company.
Yeah.
He's been through several iterations of his store name. Go Try Sports, On Try. Sorry, Alfred, I can't remember a couple of the others, but yeah, he's been putting on races here in the area
Okay.
a very long time. And actually, when I first moved here in 2008. And I started a run club in Bluffton.
okay.
You know, Alfred was the first guy I went to, and it's like, hey man, I'm going to start a run club. He's like, great, Bluffton needs something, and
Nice.
yeah, so he's a great dude. But yeah, when we're busy, I mean, I've got folks that work for me that, you know, if I'm in one location, they can be at another.
I was going to ask you that. Is there an opportunity for you? I mean, like, do you have multiple all your timing equipment and all the other stuff, so
Yeah.
you can in
Yeah,
theory,
we could technically be at 6 different events at one time.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
So if it comes to that,
Yeah.
what was so you said 1,800 from a participating standpoint, what race was that?
BTR north of the Broad is definitely the biggest.
Yeah. And that's including the youth and
It is,
everything.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great fun run.
It is a great run.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's picturesque. Habersham, you can't get no wrong. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
As long as the weather, plays right.
Yeah. This is going to be 15 years this upcoming year. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a great cause. I mean, it's it helps with their school, and obviously they're a partner of ours.
Yeah.
We love BTR. Do you do the chili bean cook-off?
Yes.
Buford
So
Academy?
they did not have a race this year. This was
Okay.
the first year that they did not. They've had some location changes over the
Yeah.
past, and I don't think they loved the change in location last year, and some leadership moved around a little bit. So
Okay.
they said, rather than just rushing it, let's just figure it out and bring it back.
I've
So,
never been to that one. We don't do a lot of work with Buford Academy. A handful this year that they contracted us for, but never one of the 5Ks.
Yeah.
I love photographing a 5K.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, the quintessential start. When I'm back and I got a 135 on, it kind of compresses everything. It's just that one open shot, and then just firing it off when they run by, and then getting them across the finish line. One of my favorite probably would be the Run Forest Run.
Yep.
When Forrest Gump is here. Not a lot of people dressing as Forrest Gump. I mean, there's a handful,
Yeah. I like the different iterations of Forrest.
Oh yeah, of course. That's what's
Yeah.
that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
And then I think I have one shot of Forrest high-fiving Forrest
Yeah.
or Forrest.
See, I'm surprised you don't show up.
You know
like-
what? I mean, maybe I will.
Yeah.
This September.
Yeah. You're
show-
working though, it's tough.
Yeah, I am, but it'd still be fun, I guess,
Yeah.
if I don the that where he was in Utah or wherever
Yeah.
that was at.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to meet Rob Pope when he was here? So Rob Pope was the gentleman from England.
No.
So he literally ran the Forrest Gump route.
Yeah.
So it was basically Transcon 4 times.
Wow.
Funniest story I think from the entire trip was his wife got pregnant in a RV along and ended
Along
up
the
having
route.
ended up having to go home, and then Rob actually got off course, went home for the birth, and then came back to the U.S. to finish. But because we have the Mississippi River Bridge here in Beaufort, we actually filmed a reenactment of it.
Really?
We used a gentleman, his name is Matthew. His name escapes me, sorry, Matthew. From Hilton Head, Beaufort High.
Yeah.
He actually videotaped it. We basically recreated the reporter scene when
Oh,
they're
nice. Yeah, yeah, for
hoarding
sure. Yeah,
him
yeah,
running
exactly right.
across
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
downtown
yeah.
bridge. And then he was putting together a documentary, and they were going to use that footage,
Yes.
especially like when he was out in the desert,
Yep.
and he said, I think I'm going to go home now.
Yeah.
I've got a great photo I'll send you after this. He's wearing a grounded running shirt.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
perfect.
really
promo.
cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, great guy. And so I was trying to coordinate something with him coming back again
Yes.
but he no longer has the
has
whole-
the beard. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. Remind me
Okay.
come September
Yeah.
that I can do that. I don't know. I mean, do you have short shorts on at that point, or was it? 'cause
Those are the short shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. The red
Yeah.
with the white stripe. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a commitment.
That is commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've actually kind of enjoyed recently. I've actually, it started with BTR, like just as an accident. Like I had a really cool shirt in my Jeep, and I was like, oh, this would be a fun shirt to wear.
Okay.
And so like it's actually evolved now to where, like I don't know if you remember my suit. I had this like whole floral suit on this year.
Yes.
So I've actually started dressing up. Yeah.
tour.
But where that came from was the superhero race.
Oh
that,
the superhero
yeah.
Poor Royal President.
Yeah.
I love that
yeah.
race.
And so yeah, dressed up, had a cape on, had the little mask on.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, for sure.
So it was,
I get that. I mean, yeah. I still laugh. There was one race. It might have been, was it the Turkey Trot that you had now Mayor Kevin Phillips come out, and it was freezing. And
Oyster Boogie.
It was the Oyster Boogie.
Oyster Boogie. Kevin, I'm so sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
He did. He came in the day before, and
Oh,
he's like,
my
man, I'm going to start running. I'm going to start training. He's like, he got a good pair of shoes, and he's like, I need some shorts. And he's like, these things are little. I was like, no, that's
That's standard.
That's running
Yeah.
shorts. And yeah, he came through, and his
He-
poor legs were beat red.
Oh, he was freezing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and I got a picture of him when he looked worn out.
Yeah.
I mean, he was put through the ringer on
That
that
has
run.
definitely been the coldest race historically that
Oh,
I
dude,
that I
yeah.
time every single year.
Yeah.
Third weekend of January, it's so hit or miss.
Yeah.
But it's just like anticipation. It's like it's going to be freezing.
Yep.
I put up the sidewalls on my tent at the finish
Oh,
line.
yeah,
I
yeah.
put my space heaters in
Yeah, yeah,
there.
for sure. Yeah.
Where all the Carhartts top to bottom.
Yep,
and
yep. I got a couple of pics of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, it's like any other event, for at least for me, because I'm not a runner. I'm not in that space. But when I go, I get to see folks that I've seen year after year.
Yeah.
And you and I don't hang out outside of
Yeah.
this, so it's fun for me to see you and say hi and then talk a little bit. So it's like the water festival, but
Yeah.
for runners.
Yeah, and that's the neatest thing about like owning a running store is being a small part of like each individual person's finish line.
Oh yeah, exactly
know?
right. That's
Yeah.
a great way to think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you
and-
played a part in there.
Yeah, but like even most importantly, and we say it at the same time too, like anytime that somebody walks out, the one thing that we hear most, like when somebody walks into grounded running, especially the very first time, is I'm not a runner, but. And like even to the point where like if I knew a guy who like did like printing, like I almost want to get that printed on the floor.
Yeah,
We know you're not a runner, but
yeah,
it's just those individuals that are coming in with a recommendation from their podiatrist, their
Yeah.
physical therapist, and they're just miserable. Like you can just see them, just being uncomfortable, and getting them into like a properly structured shoe, and let alone a properly fitted shoe.
Yeah.
Most people tend to wear their shoes too small just because that's what they're historically. This
Right.
is what a shoe should feel like. So being able to, see somebody like just smile and be happy as they're walking
Yeah.
out the door. It's like, my feet don't hurt.
Yeah.
And then like bring a tray of cookies the next day. It's like, I have not been this happy in so long.
That to
Yeah.
me would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So are your running shoes? I mean, so what do you recommend for someone that comes in if they're not runners,
Yep.
but your shoes still supply them with the?
Yeah. So once upon a time, like when you would walk into like Finish Line Sports
Yeah.
or Foot Locker,
Yeah.
like they would say underneath it, running, football, walking, and like even the old phrase of you're going to break in your shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
It was literally breaking the sole so it got more flexibility
Okay.
because the sole was very stiff, it was very rigid.
Yeah.
So nowadays they don't necessarily classify as like a athletic shoe anymore as like there are definitely high-end performance shoes, but there's not a differential between what you could use for walking and you could use for running.
Okay.
All of them are designed to absorb the shock and the impact of 6 to 8 times your body weight in force, but the amount of structure is so different. Now there's carbon fiber racing shoes. We have a few local podiatrists here that are actually recommending carbon fiber for some of their folks that have super high arches. One of the cool things about the technology that we use, we actually do a full 3D foot scan of every single foot that comes in, so we can get the good accurate measurements of the feet, get them into the right size, but then also the right level of support.
Yeah.
Then doing custom orthotics or just a straight out of the box into the shoe orthotic. But for those individuals that, just need that good, comfortable shoe, once upon a time they would be classified as that like walking category.
Got it.
They're just less old.
Yeah.
Looking.
For sure. Yeah.
Not just the necessary Velcro straps and the white leather and
the dad New Balance.
The dad New Balance,
Yeah.
absolutely. But now we're also, starting to stock pickleball shoes and court shoes,
Okay.
and
those have more support on that because if you're
Yes.
if you're doing that classic tennis kind of a thing.
so rather than going straight, if you're doing
Yeah.
lateral
Yeah,
movement
exactly
side
right.
to side, you don't want something with a big heavy tread. We sell a ton of Hokas, but people that are playing pickleball and Hokas are keeping our physical therapists, fully employed,
Yeah,
because that's way too much cushioning. So lower profile, just the right amount of support for what you're doing. Are you
Yeah.
going side to side? Are you going straight? Are you hiking? Does it need more tread?
Yeah.
Do you need a waterproof upper? Do you need it to breathe? One of our regulars that we see, all the time with all the golf courses around
Yeah.
us are all the caddies.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're on their feet.
Because they're caddying for everybody, not just
Exactly.
playing one round.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That's interesting.
yeah, so it's fun, and then it's really cool too. Like when you're just out and about, and you're like, I saw that guy's
Yeah, yeah,
shoes,"
for
you know?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, look, I'm wearing them.
Yeah,
Or I get a lot of time. I don't have them on right now, but I
yeah,
wear them everywhere else.
yeah.
So
That's how it is with signs.
Yeah.
Not so much getting back feedback from that, but seeing that, oh, I did that one, I did that one, I did that one, or whatever.
yeah,
It's always interesting.
It's nice. I love Beaufort because I truly believe that Beaufort supports their small businesses.
Yep.
Hands down.
100%.
It's just that, that small town mentality. Yes, we're absolutely growing. We're going to grow.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to
it's
happen.
gonna happen.
But, you just continue to differentiate yourself from, other things that are coming to the area.
Yeah.
Like we've just made a big investment as, we're getting ready to start our 10th year. I've been very anti-online
Okay.
since we've opened.
Okay.
The only time that I've actually opened up a online store for grounded running was during COVID,
Okay. Out of necessity.
out of mandatory.
Mandatory, yeah.
The very first round of closures that the governor announced, I was able to submit a what was the term?
Yeah.
When we were all we were special because
Yeah, exactly right,
What
yeah.
was that term that
God,
everybody
what was
used?
that? Not necessity. It was. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah. Anyways, I was able to submit a request and an essential business.
Essential, that's the
Essential
word.
business. So because we work so close with physical therapists and podiatrists, we had people that were coming right after a knee surgery
Yeah,
and they
for sure.
needed a stable shoe.
Yeah.
So I was able to submit a request. They immediately approved it. You're allowed one person in the store at a time.
Got it.
You can do staging outside, et cetera. The first week of April, my brother actually sent me a text and he's like, "Man, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, you didn't hear the governor's latest
yeah.
response?" Well, then like the very first thing that he sent in that day's newscast was all stores, including shoe stores, need to close. So it's like, close the
Yeah.
door. So we started doing sidewalk sales, where we had a few chairs set up outside.
Yeah.
Somebody could come up, tell us what they wanted. We had one person in a tent over here, a couple chairs,
Yeah.
socially distanced down the other side. Then we started doing home deliveries.
Yep.
Like if somebody knew what they wanted, tell us what you want, we'll bring it to you. All
crazy.
the things. So
Yeah.
then finally by the end of April that year, I was like, I need to have an online store.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of money, a lot of time getting that up with our physical inventory, and then when we reopened again, we kind of phased it out
Yeah.
because what we do is so different than just walking into a big box shoe
Yeah,
store and
right.
saying, okay, let me grab this off the shelf.
Yeah.
Let me grab this. Everybody that works for us. They really take that time for that personal dedication because even, like if you absolutely love that FIA shoe
Yeah.
and then the next version comes out, it's going to be so different that when
Right.
you put it on your foot, you're like, oh, now it hits my ankle bone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So like when you tell us that, we're like, oh yeah, we know that. So now let me show you this shoe. We've just made a fairly large investment, redid our entire website.
Wow.
And we're actually launching our own app. So we're launching a grounded running app.
Dude, that's fantastic.
With a massive rewards program.
Wow.
So you earn points, of course, for coming and shopping with
Yep.
us. It's like the really weird thing when you walk in grounded running that a lot of people now understand is like when you look at our massive shoe wall, there's no prices on the shoe.
Okay.
Well, it's because that's a fair traded market item. Wherever you buy, the Ghost 16, you're paying the exact same price.
Yeah.
I literally have to sign my life away every single month and say, we're not going to sell this shoe for
Right.
anything less because that's how you keep things fair. So like, if you come here, you're going to pay 140. If you go see Alfred in Hilton Head, you're going to pay 140. If you go see Carolyn in Charleston, you're going to pay 140.
Right.
With this new app, where you earn points for every dollar that you spend in the store.
Okay.
If you run local races, you're also earning points
Okay.
for towards rewards at the store. And then if you're also a nerd geek that
Yeah.
tracks all of your mileage, and you use an app called Strava, which is kind of like a Facebook for runners,
Got it.
but you upload all of your training runs into
Ah.
it. You also earn points for running, so
Okay.
just training, and it doesn't matter if you're running, if you're walking, what you're doing. So it's just a great way to give back to
Yeah.
to the community, of saying thank you for being so loyal to us for the last 10 years. And it's just neat.
Yeah, of
It's got a
course.
lot of great information. We really designed it to try to be like this central running hub. It's very clean. The platform is super easy to use. It's got a news section. It's got an events tab. It's got a group run section, and then it's got the store. On the main homepage, it's very clean. It shows where you're currently at with your levels, because
Oh,
everybody
nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
everybody
for
likes
sure.
to naturally
Yeah.
bump up. We have such loyal fans of ours that just shop with us year after year after year after year
Yeah.
after year, that it's like this is just a great way to say thank you, for supporting us and having us grow. And again, that's like the best thing here in Beaufort, is
Yeah.
like there's so many very successful small businesses, because our community just continues to support
They
it.
do
So,
100%.
yeah.
When does that launch?
So the Apple app is actually available now.
Okay.
We're actually waiting on Android to approve the exact same app.
Imagine that.
Yeah, they're just a little bit of a deeper process. It's actually been a very interesting process. I don't know if you've ever gone through that.
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's first, of just like validating that Tim Waz actually owns Grounded Running,
Really?
and I can actually put something out there
Yeah.
that somebody can spend money on, and that I'm not, or I am who I say I am,
Yeah.
and I'm not anybody else pretending.
Wow.
So it's like, it's there's a lot of like really deep security that goes into it. Countless hours with trademark attorneys,
Wow,
and
really?
even like their like when we finally got the actual approval for the app through Apple, it's probably like an hour and a half long conversation with my app developer, myself. Apple themselves, their attorneys, just going
Wow.
through the whole thing of like, do you solemnly swear that you are who you say, and that you're not
That's
going to be
insane,
funding.
yeah. And it's all for a reason. I'm sure they've had issues in the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an evil part
What was
of
the
that.
first app you ever downloaded?
Oh, dude, yeah. What was the first app I ever downloaded? I don't know.
I know mine. It popped up the other day.
What was it?
It was the fake beer app.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
yes.
Yeah. It's like you held your phone to the
Yes.
side, and you're like,
The novelty of that.
right?
God.
The fake
How did
beer
you
app.
find out that was your first one?
It popped up on like one of the social medias things. It's like, do you remember, like,
Wow.
and then I think the first game that I ever downloaded was the original Angry Birds.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was like, I remembered it was like Angry Birds and the beer app. And then there was also a flashlight app,
Yes.
because it was before like
Before
the
yeah.
iPhones had
yeah,
the,
so it's
the
a bright
lights on it.
screen.
Yeah.
I remember doing the shotgun, like a sound effect.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Thing. So I used to jailbreak my phones.
Okay.
I've had an iPhone since they first came out in 07.
Yeah.
But later on, 2010, 11, I would take them and I would jailbreak them. And then you get different apps, and you can make it look like a Windows
Oh,
home
yeah.
screen
Yep.
and things like that. But now I just get it for what it is, and I'm almost to the point where if I could revert back to a flip phone or a Razor,
Right.
and go back, because I bought a Casio watch, and Kelly got on to me about it because I wear it all the time. But what's the point of paying for this if that? But it's a nice watch, and I don't have to worry about. I'm not getting dinged all
Yeah.
the time and all these notifications, and we've become so. That's the right word, but attached to these that I always have it. And when I have it on me, I'm always checking my phone
Yeah.
out of habit.
Yep.
So it's
One thing or another's buzzing and
Something, yeah.
beeping and
Yeah.
flipping, and it's that, like, I kind of use that as the justification a lot. It's like, oh well, it's for the business. It's like, yeah, well, that email was, but then then you flip
You
through.
flip it up,
Yeah, it's like I've got 4 Instagram accounts. And I can't even imagine with like as many as you manage,
yeah.
but like I've got 4 Instagram accounts, like my personal, the shop, Beaufort Track Club, and then Lowcountry Ultras.
Yeah.
Lowcountry Ultras was the company that I actually put the ultra marathons on.
Oh, okay, got it.
Still just got a great following, so
Yeah.
kept it. So somebody likes something, ping, boom,
Yep,
flip, then you're doom scrolling.
Yeah,
It's
exactly
like
right.
20 minutes went by, and it's like, oh yeah. So, I mean, it's really that nice balance of. It's a great way to keep in touch with your clients. It's a great
is.
way to keep in touch with your customers. It's a great way to keep in touch with family.
Yep.
But yeah, it's funny how it's changed.
It is. I just got back from California probably about a couple weeks ago, and we had a trip to Joshua Tree. So it was a drone job. Surreal Cycling, shout out to Todd. Had me out there. In the later part of my trip, we went to Glamis or near Glamis to sand dunes, and then spent the night in Joshua Tree. I'd never been that remote
Okay.
in ever,
Yeah.
honestly. No cell phone service, pitch dark. It was gorgeous. It was lovely. But the anxiety that I had as soon as I got through the park and lost cell phone service. I'm like, Todd, I didn't tell Kelly I made it.
Yeah.
I got to ride back out 10 minutes, let her call. I called her, did that, came back. And it was just, I was on edge. Not that the world's going to end by any means, but as far as not having communication with me, but the fear of thinking, what happened? What if Anthony needs me?
Yeah.
What if Kelly needs me?
Right.
My kids are grown, but it's still the same time. What happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I also hate that we're in that situation that we have that. I love the communication and the ability to get somebody like that, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yes. Yeah. So last summer I had the opportunity to go to Burning Man, and that was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Because you're literally in
Yeah.
Black Rock Desert, and there's no cell phone coverage. So I was actually driving 3 days across country.
Yeah.
With all of Laney and I's gear.
Yeah.
Setting up camp. Then she was going to fly out to Reno, get on the burner bus, meander her way in,
Yeah.
and then just hike to camp. And
Just tight the camera.
yeah, it's like I was going to be gone for almost 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it's like, how can I can't not be cut off. So I actually bought a Garmin InReach satellite communicator.
Nice.
$69. It actually connects with your phone Bluetooth.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's so funny, but that was like my original thought was like, no, I can't be cut off for
It's crazy.
that long.
It's hard to think that not even 20 years ago,
yeah.
we had zero of
Yeah.
that communication.
Yep.
When I lived in Germany in the 80s, it was literally I was 7th grade through 10th grade. Jump on a subway, we'd go downtown and we'd skateboard, we'd get in fights, we'd steal shit, we'd do whatever, and then come back and then, how was your day? Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
None the wiser.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine that now. And I don't have any, like I said, my son's 29, my daughter's 21, and not being able to reach out to them would be a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just hey, how are you?
Yep.
And God forbid they don't respond in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
The world's ended.
How long do you think it takes humans to make that shift? Of how long does it take us to get locked into something to where like then it's so difficult to like say.
To get out. I don't know. That's a good question. You say that makes me think like when somebody has a kid. Well, how long before they don't remember not having a kid?
Yeah.
Because there's within the first year, you're like, oh
absolutely.
shit, I don't remember not having a kid.
Yeah.
It's So with technology, I don't know. It's today, and it's probably more instantaneous than it was. Because before it was a fad, right? I mean, we didn't need the BlackBerry. What do I need all that for? What do I need to get access to the internet? I've
Yeah.
got my computer here at home. And then, I remember having a Circuit City car phone. No reason why I needed that thing, but I had
Yep.
one. It was
Like
a bag
phone?
Exactly.
Yep.
Right. It was a status
Yeah.
symbol, if anything. And then you had your pager, and it was for drug dealers or doctors.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody had them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. So it's just insane how much we've grown in technology in a short period of time. Honestly, dude, probably, I don't know, 6 months. I mean, I don't remember life without TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
TikTok's a big part of a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok.
Do you watch TikTok?
I don't watch TikTok. Yeah. I do a lot of Instagram. Instagram, I think, is
It's different.
Instagram and YouTube, I think, are
Yeah.
my two.
Do you watch YouTube Shorts at
Oh,
all?
yeah. Yeah.
So it's similar to that.
Yeah, right.
It's very, if
Yeah.
anything, what you're seeing on YouTube was, a couple of days prior on TikTok kind of
Yeah.
video. But what I like about TikTok is that it knows you, who you are, what you like, and your For You page is strictly kind of for you.
Okay.
But Kelly and I, we have a routine every couple of days. She'll throw it on the TV. We'll scroll through stuff that she's liked,
Okay.
that she thinks I would watch, and
Yeah.
we watch them together. And every now and again, I saw that when I saw that's hilarious. We've kind of became the same. It's strictly, dude. It's dog stuff. For me, it's dancing, which I'm not a dancer, but I love watching people dance.
Sure.
Car stuff, a lot of video, a lot of camera stuff. The occasional sad stuff.
Okay.
People passing away, and then
Yeah.
stories of cancer and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't need to cry about this right now. Dogs passing away, and and I'm looking for my dogs. I'm like, oh, start getting the feels for your
Yeah.
pets.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's way for her and I to connect.
Yeah. Lainey and I follow more animal shelters on Instagram than anything.
It's
And
ridiculous.
so we have 2 German Shepherds.
Okay.
Elsa is going on 8, and then Charlie is 3.
Okay.
Both rescues, and Charlie's saving her money.
Okay.
So when she gets big enough,
Yeah.
she can get her own little dog. So,
Okay.
we send, Instagram posts from all
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
country.
for
It's like,
sure.
oh, this is the one that Charlie's looking at this week.
Okay.
This
Wow.
is the one that she wants to get this week.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's usually, for me, it's usually dogs,
Yeah.
space, and jam bands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I have found so many musicians from TikTok, dude. It is insane. When we're done with this, I'll show you a couple bands that I
Yeah.
follow. So what do you listen to? What's the style?
So I would say top 2 bands, Dave Matthews and Dead and Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will show you a couple that I've listened to, that I've downloaded albums. And I mean, it's just crazy shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Grounded Running, everybody can go to groundedrunning.com.
Yep.
So after the races, all the races are timed. Everybody
Yep.
goes
all
there.
the results are there.
All the
posted
results
on
are there. New website's launching soon. The app is available on Apple.
It's available
working
Apple.
on Android.
Yep.
Are you
Hopefully
gonna have
it'll be within the next week.
okay? You're gonna have a big shindig in November for the 10th year.
We are, yeah. So planning a big party then. We're also probably in June. Global Run Day is Wednesday the 6th
Okay.
or 5th this year. So that's going to kind of be. We're hoping to do a hard launch of the app for Global Run Day.
Oh, nice.
We are going to be partnering and doing a litter pickup the Thursday, the day after,
Nice.
with Beaufort Litter Patrol.
Yep.
We do a Thursday group run over at Shell Ring, so we're
Yep.
going to be kind of cleaning up the back area
Nice.
behind that, which is not their property, but
It's
needs,
still
needs some
Yeah.
love right now. And then planning a big thing for this fall. So
Okay, good. Well, let us know if you need any help pushing that or getting
Yep.
the word out. We'd love to help. We love working with you and doing what we can
Absolutely,
with you.
man.
Yeah. So thanks for coming by.
thank you for having me.
Everybody, thanks. Check out Tim at Grounded Running. And appreciate you watching.